Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And we are back with Dr. Lenny Rosenblum. Excited to have you back. Again, I apologize for the nasalness, but I had a polyp removed. As a doctor, you can understand, and they scraped out my sinuses. So I'm going to sound a little stuffy, but I'm feeling good. How are you?
I'm doing better, I guess. I'll
Yeah.
take it.
Well,
I'll feel better soon.
Oh, thank you so much. It is a beautiful fall, crisp day here in New York City, and your lighting does look great. I love the background and the ambiance. We're going to talk today about the work you do as a chiropractor, as a naturopathic doctor, in a sense. Tell us a little bit about yourself for those who don't know to start.
So I'm a chiropractor licensed in New York since 91 and started practice in Florida in 87. So I've been trying to get this right for quite a while, which is why we call it a practice.
He has.
Thank you. And I'm here in the Union Square area, literally on the corner of 18th and Broadway. If I look out my window, I can see Paragon Sports for those of us who know sporting equipment.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And what else can I say? I've studied many modalities aside from just chiropractic in terms of natural healing. So I have spent time studying classical and combination homeopathy, herbs, electroacupuncture diagnostics, which is very interesting subject by itself. We could spend the whole day talking about that.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. And I've studied quite a bit of yoga and exercise and many other things that all seem to feed into how I'm able to help patients with a broad perspective of what's available out there for their healing process.
Beautiful. And I know you mentioned in the email about keeping small problems small, right? Talk a
Yeah.
little bit about that ounce of prevention for us.
That's one of my favorite things because, so often just a little thing over time makes a huge difference. And I love to use the example because those of us that drive into the city have probably seen the ongoing process of what's going on with the Manhattan Bridge. So I looked it up on Wikipedia, and apparently I'm going to quote here from Wikipedia. However, I hope that's okay. By 1978, the Manhattan Bridge had deteriorated to such a point that the United States Congress voted to allocate money to repair the bridge, as well as several others in New York City. This started in 1982, and even further grants by 85. And if you drove over the bridge now, you'll still see they're working on it. And this is all because the city didn't have money to maintain it back in the 70s during the financial crisis then.
I didn't realize that. Wow.
Right. So when we are in this crisis state of mind, we start to ignore those things and we think we can get away with them for a while. But if you let it go for too long, you're going to spend a lot of time and money fixing a bridge or fixing your teeth or whatever it is that we have let go, thinking that, oh, it's okay. So these are some of the things that I'm going to bring up in terms of how I take care of patients.
Good.
Yeah. So whenever I get a new patient, aside from like their chief complaint with why they're here, I ask them questions about, how's your digestion? How's your sleep? I go into their lifestyle. What kind of work do you do? Are you sitting all day in front of a computer? Or are you up on your feet? What got to do for your sports or exercise? And do you do any sports or exercise? And how that's going to affect your health long term. And I also ask about their diet. Are they vegans? If they're vegans, are they making sure that they're not getting anemic?
Yeah.
Or are they taking a supplement? And recent studies have shown that long-term, a good broad spectrum multivitamin, multi-mineral makes a huge difference over the course of your life, especially as far as like cognitive health. Is your mind clear?
Mental mind,
right?
Yep.
And, I tell everybody that if you breathe the air in New York City, you need 3 grams of vitamin C a day. And if you smoke, you need 6 grams. Oh. That's, how important these things are. And, everybody's talking about vitamin D these days. But apparently, if you take vitamin D without vitamin K, you're going to wind up absorbing a lot of calcium, but it's not going where it belongs. It's going to wind up in artery walls or in joints and causing all kinds of problems. In order to make bone, you also need the vitamin K, which we're starting to become more and more aware of. So these are all little things that taken over time can make a big difference in people's health. So that's just where I begin with people. And I don't know if you have any questions about that stuff yet, but
I'm
I'm going
just
to go
curious about
on.
vitamin K. Can I be honest with you? I never even knew there was a vitamin K. Is that in my multivitamin? I have to look now.
You'll have to look. It's now being sold in combination with vitamin D
Okay.
on the shelves in the health food stores. I'm not seeing too many multis that
Wow.
vitamin K.
Okay,
But
what does
if
vitamin K do? Like, for example, I know certain calcium doesn't absorb, but you have to take the one with the D3, I thought, right? That's
well, right. But K is what allows the body, vitamin D is almost a hormone.
okay.
Hormones actually affect bone density.
Okay.
That's why as these hormones drop off as we age, sometimes we start to lose muscle and bone density. But that's only part of the picture. And apparently, K is very much involved with making sure that this absorbed calcium is directed into living tissue where it forms living bone
Wow.
instead of a calcium deposit.
Okay,
It doesn't
I
belong.
gotta get vitamin K. I didn't know this.
Take
Wow.
a look at that one. Yeah, you see, you learned something new.
Always, every time with you. Yes,
Thank you.
for sure. Got
And
it.
then, I always talk around if they're exercising, what they're doing, and what are the issues that come up around exercise. Because when somebody's in a lot of pain in their spine, they don't feel like working out. It
Yeah.
becomes this danger. And very often, the one thing that's really going to make the biggest difference is picking up something or doing some vigorous activity that's really going to help heal. Because without the circulation and without the chemistry of the body is actually affected by exercise, you're going to slow down the healing process. The hardest patients that I have to work with long term are the ones that are sedentary, the writers, the professors, the people that spend all day in an office looking at a computer screen instead
Wow.
of getting up and moving around. So, these are very important things that over time make a huge difference. And sometimes people come in with knee pain and they want me to focus on their knees. Most knee pain comes because the hips are misaligned. So if we don't take, the knees are great for compensating for other things in the body. But if they're constantly compensating, then they start to run out
Yep.
of places to put the tension. So again, let's work with the whole spinal system and let's make sure that the knees don't have to work so hard to compensate. That's a big one there. And then the other thing is, remember, I've been talking about seated posture. I gave you that cushion. Are you using it yet?
What
Oh,
cushion?
thank God. You're the best.
Did you see me just sneak it out? That's why before I was like, oh God, I'm gonna have to, I don't want to sit on it when we start the show. I want to hold it up. And then yes,
Oh,
thank you.
that's
Look,
good for, right. There you go. Makes
here
a
it
big
is.
difference. So when
Wow.
you're sitting up straight for long periods of time,
It
it's
feels
easier on your
so much
spine and your body.
better. I can put it back on now, right?
Yes, please.
Okay.
But
Wow.
what are indications that you're in trouble? And here are little things people can look out for. So, this is a case of one of my colleagues who's actually just a pure naturopath. And I went to his office and I see him sitting there, standing rather, at his desk, leaning with his elbow like this. And I said, get your elbow off the table. And then he puts his hand down on the table. I said, can you stand up straight without using anything to prop you up? He lasted for about like 5 seconds.
Wow.
So these are things that we're not conscious of, that we're constantly
Yeah.
doing and not realizing. So this is a thing that's an indication that there's something in our spine that's causing us to collapse like this. My care is about restoring that part of the anatomy because there are no muscles behind our spine to pull the vertebra backward. So my work is about getting those vertebrae to move back from the outside in, and that makes a huge difference in people's healing process.
Yeah.
So you can see that, you see them on their knee or I mean their hand on their elbow or their knees on their elbow. And these are indications that something's off and that we need to take care of things. So that's another little small thing that we forget about until it becomes a big problem. Like we're starting to get numb in our fingers because the nerves that come out over here are being compromised.
Yeah.
So that's another biggie. And then I ask about their digestion. And, one of the things that we have to be considerate of is by the time we hit 35, which I know you haven't, okay?
44, baby. Come on. And rising. It's okay.
You look
Own it.
great.
Own it. Own it.
Yes, it's a privilege. Anyway, after the age of 35, our stomach acid becomes a little bit weaker.
Oh.
And over time, it gets weak to the point that, oh, we get indigestion, let's take an antacid. Well, yeah, you have less acid, but you're not breaking food down properly, because that strong stomach acid is that first step in digestion that when it goes into the intestinal tract, it's ready for further work in terms of being broken down. So if somebody tells me that they're, having a lot of problems or they're getting bloated after they eat, the first thing that I do is give them something called betaine hydrochloride,
Okay.
which when it goes into your stomach turns into hydrochloric acid, and suddenly they're digesting their food again. Problem when you don't digest your food properly in the very beginning in that stomach is that now you're getting particles of food that are not broken down fully hitting the digestive system, being absorbed, and our immune system sees these strange things which don't belong there and start to react. So we actually see more inflammation. We even can start to see allergies start to happen because we're getting things that are foreign in our body that should have been acted on in the earlier stage of digestion. So that's another big one. And sometimes people have an upset stomach, and I ask them very simply, do you have irritation right away after you eat? And if so, then maybe we do have something to heal the GI tract. The best thing for healing the digestive system is okra. That's
Oh,
not kind of vegetable. It actually stimulates the digestive tract to heal. So anytime anybody has any problem with that, I start with that, but also make sure that the stomach acid is strong enough to initiate digestion.
can I ask a question, Doc?
Please
Because
go
you
ahead.
are a doc. So I suffer with IBS my whole life, and there's no cure. I've been to all the gastroenterologists, but I know there's probably better naturopathic things to start doing. I just started stem cell therapy to try. Long story short, my doctor still wants me to take omeprazole.
I forget what that one was.
Omeprazole is it's like it's an anti-acid, I guess.
Oh, antacid.
Is that any good to keep taking every day? I just feel like I don't really need omeprazole, to be honest, but
That would be my choice. Legally, I can't tell
yes.
you to change your prescription from your medical doctor
Yep.
because whatever laws we have. But it wouldn't be my first choice. And here's the thing. If you start taking okra, they sell it in capsules, or you can buy it in the grocery store. It's
Writing this
easy
one
right
down too. I
now.
got the vitamin K and okra on my list. Okay, go
Right.
ahead.
And my favorite form is in the Indian restaurants. They call it bindi masala. Oh, it's very tasty.
Oh,
Yeah. So look that one up. And that you can eat that every day, and it's going to start to heal your digestive tract. You need less and less of these things to support your digestion.
awesome.
So that's another biggie that I often talk about with people. And or maybe they're getting bloating later on, and maybe their enzymes aren't strong enough. So there's things like bromelain, which is the enzyme that comes out of pineapple that breaks down proteins. So if maybe you're having compromised digestion, it takes a while for these things to act, then start taking an enzyme that can really help boost your digestion there. Some of the other things I look about in nutrition, which not quite related to digestion, is when I'm working on patients, and here's the great thing about being a chiropractor, because most medical doctors, you go in, you see them once, it's like seeing a snapshot of the person. When you're a chiropractor, the joke in chiropractic school is how many chiropractors does it take to change a light bulb? Only one, but it'd be 30
Yeah.
visits before it works. Here's the thing, we're doing with natural healing. It only happens step by step. But because I'm seeing people on a regular basis, I'm noticing little things that they didn't talk about in their first visit they go to the medical doctor. So I'm looking at their fingernails. And if the little white clouds in the fingernails, the first thing I do is we take out this weak solution of zinc and time how long does it take before they taste it. And if they have trouble tasting this stuff, then I know they're really nutritionally deficient in zinc.
Wow.
And zinc is important not just for your skin and nails, which is good for, and also the men's prostate, but certain vitamins and nutrients cannot cross over from the blood into the brain through that blood-brain barrier unless zinc is present.
Okay.
A lot of people, anxiety and depression, all these other things start to improve, let alone sometimes they get tingling in their extremities because of a B12 deficiency. And it's not that they're not getting enough B12 in their diet, but it's not going where it belongs.
Yeah.
So simple little things like zinc can make a huge difference, especially nowadays when we're seeing a lot of things that compete with zinc in our environment. You know, mercury and lead and cadmium can all compete with zinc. Sometimes we need a little extra zinc.
Can you tell me what we need the zinc for specifically?
Uh, well, crossing the blood-brain barrier for mental, emotional, as well as mental health in general.
Okay.
Skin and nails, wound
Okay.
healing, and men's prostates really like zinc for some
All
reason.
right. Good
So
good
those are
tips
the
for
ones.
us.
And a good source if you don't want to take a supplement, although they're really cheap. It's like $7 for a 3-month supply. Okay, is pumpkin seeds. Very good. As a matter of fact, that's often what's put in formulas for men's prostates.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The other one that I look at very often is magnesium. So if somebody's constantly getting muscle cramps, okay, or constipation, let's get some extra magnesium in there. For years, I used to do mineral analysis on patients to see what's going on. I have yet to find an American that had too little calcium in their bodies. Almost everybody has way too much, and calcium also competes with magnesium. So if we have too much calcium, it artificially depresses how well the magnesium is able to do its job. So just getting a little bit more balance of magnesium in there helps to get rid of some of those calcium deposits I was talking about,
Okay.
as well as the correct muscle tone for artery walls and digestive system. So the constipation starts to clear up just from magnesium. So that's another one that almost everybody can use a little bit of. And the other one that I ask people when somebody's chronically cold, or they have trouble losing weight, or maybe they have a lot of weight below the waist. These are all indications that their thyroid's not doing its job. And they may have a normal blood test, because the blood test is not sensitive to pick up low levels of hypo or less than normal activity. So there's a test called the Broda-Barnes test, which is really simple. You take a thermometer. You can even use the new electronic one, so long as it says axillary, which means it goes in the armpit. You have it already by your bedstand at night. And the first thing you do when you wake up before you even get out of bed is put that thing into the armpit and notice how long it's usually going to be a minute or two, because these electronic things take time. But if it's below 97.8, your thyroid's not doing its job.
Okay.
And so very often the simplest and fastest fix is let's check their iodine. And it's just like that zinc test, except what I do then is I'll paint a little bit of iodine that he puts on cuts and scrapes on the skin, and time. How long does it take till they absorb it? If it gets absorbed like within an hour, this person's severely deficient in iodine. As a matter of fact, I had a patient years ago. She told me as soon as I gave her an iodine supplement, with no change at all in her diet, she lost 9 pounds within 2 months. Just because her thyroid started working the way it should. So again, these are little things that are easy to take care of and inexpensive to take care of that make a huge difference over time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Dr. Lenny, remind us how we can reach out to you. Tell us your website, phone number. It's always good to repeat.
I'm neglecting to say this. So yes, please call me at 212-254-4586. I think they can put it on the screen for me also in case you don't catch it, but I'm going to say it one more time. 212-254-4586. It's easy to remember that way.
Perfect.
And I also have a website called unionsquarespinalcare.com, all one word, Union Square Spinal Care. And also you can send me an email, please. It's Dr. Lenny R, DrLennyR @gmail.com.
Perfect.
All right. Do you have any other questions you want to bring up?
No, not yet. This is good.
All right. So the other thing that I check very often is shoulders. So, chiropractic is really about the spine and the nervous system, but nobody else really seems to adjust or manipulate joints as much as chiropractors. Some physical therapists do, but not that many that I've found. And so what I do in the course of a visit, I will check is their shoulder joint aligned properly? So I'll push down on it, or push up on it, or push out, or push in. And with a simple manipulation, suddenly the shoulder that was bothering them sometimes for months starts working the way it's supposed to. Because it's not that the muscles were weak, but they were not working in their ideal position because the joint was misaligned. So that's another little thing that we can do that really helps people. And the same thing goes with knees and elbow. I actually, every visit when a person comes in, I open up the ankle joint, I give a little tug and let it reset, because these joints are like puzzle pieces. They kind of want to fit. You just got to give them a chance to go back where they belong. I pull out the toes. That's the favorite part for many patients. They just love getting their toes pulled out. And I push up into the bones of the arch. Again, there's no muscle in the body to pull the arch bones back up where they belong. And it doesn't matter if they have high arches or flat-footed, still makes a difference. And then we do such things for the knees as well as the hips sometimes. Sometimes the hip joint can pull forward, you push it back, and it makes a difference. So lots of little things that we can do that change our ability to act and be in the world, to enjoy our exercise, to enjoy walking around, to enjoy our daily life. That's really what the work is all about.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And you're helping now, again, you're in the New York area, but you also, do you work with other people in other states? And what states are you licensed to work in?
No, pretty much. I started in Florida, but
Okay.
too much of a bother to continue with their license. So I moved to New York. I'm not going back to Florida.
You're a New Yorker at heart. All right. No, that's awesome.
Not to bother my Florida friends, but I always say the only reason we still have Florida in this country is to make Texas look normal.
Oh, that's true. That's a good one. So from just from a standpoint of virtual work, do you do virtual sessions with some of your clients as well in New York, or is it all hands-on in person?
It's really got to be a hands-on thing, which is why this pandemic has been tough, because if I can't be with people, it's hard to do anything. But that's also why I can't be replaced by cheap labor overseas. So
yeah,
good and bad.
Yeah, I totally get it. Absolutely. You're right. We still have a few minutes left, Dr. Lenny. What else did you want to add to us today, to our show? This has been informative. I have so many notes from you.
Okay, good. So, so I have cats in the office.
Love it.
Right?
My
Well,
type of guy. Yep.
patients come in sometimes, oh, doc, I have cat allergy. I said, don't worry. There's nothing here that's upholstered, and the cats are short hair. I keep an air filter going all the time. And unless they're severely allergic, which I haven't seen too much of, they can get by. But then I said, something, I can help you get rid of allergies. And I'm going to talk about that in my next podcast, where I talk about this electroacupuncture testing and treatments that have to do with how allergy is really not so much the substance itself, but the internal workings of the body that have become out of kilter. I'll use the analogy of a couple that gets divorced because somebody burnt the toast.
Yeah.
Toast, no, it was everything that led up to that. So there's a technology that we use that helps to go through the body's basic chemistry, its relationship with proteins, the relationship with minerals, the relationship with vitamins, the relationship with hormones. All these things are the building blocks of our body's chemistry and our body's internal workings. And very often when we take care of those, 85% of people's allergies go away.
Wow.
Very nice. So this is something that I love to get into in more detail, and that's my teaser for it.
I love the teaser. Always good to have a teaser. And thank you again for your, what do I call the name of my chair cushion?
I'm going to call it posture cushion. I don't even know if I have a term for it yet.
I love it.
But it makes a huge difference. And so put it on a firm surface. You put it on a soft couch or one of those mesh bottom chairs, it's just going to sink in. But so long as you have it on a firm seat, you're good.
No, I noticed my posture's been better. I started using it last week, and it feels good.
That's the idea. All right.
Thank you, Dr. Lenny. How can we reach you over time?
One more time, 212-254-4586, unionsquarespinalcare.com, or my email, drlennyr, Dr. Lenny R, @gmail.com.
Thank you. Can never mention it enough. You have a great day. Thank you again. Bye-bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.